Now let that sink in. Have you guys seen the guy on TikTok? It's like Funny Mark or something like that. I'm gonna get his tag wrong. I'll post it after the show. Um, the guy who does like the really niche impressions that are really good, like he does Alan Alda as like Thanos, and he does a impression of like every white guy with a podcast, and he's like, "Did you guys see this? Oh, he's getting up and leaving. We've been arguing all day about this. Did you guys see?" He's spot on.
I'm afraid that's going to hurt my feelings.
It's not the same guy who does the great Fred Flintstone
Yes.
and Barney Rubble
It's him.
impressions. Oh, okay.
It's like some guy
He's
Mark.
been on TikTok skated.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, he has.
Amazing.
It's very good. Well, at your signal, we can get this baby going.
Whose signal?
Well, we're already live.
Oh,
Oh, we're live. Splendid.
it's a signal.
Good morning, everyone, and
morning.
welcome to another. Oh, I missed the branding already.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good, good radish morning, everyone, and
Good
welcome
morning.
to another edition of your favorite daily morning podcast, where we talk about nerd culture as well as current events and the good stuff, and only the good stuff. I am your co-host this week, or anchor rather, Sean, and I am joined this morning by
I'm Hodakage.
Al Roker.
Okay.
Oh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That was perfect.
We haven't had those coffees yet quite yet.
Look, I'm all for our very long running morning show, but you can say morning after that. Are you gonna do that
Good
weird
morning.
voice the
Good
entire
morning.
episode? Because I'm gonna not listen. I'll turn Sean off.
He's got to do the voice.
I mean, it's the voice only has to last to just welcome folks in as a false sense of comfort, and then
Mhm.
we really get dirty with it.
You sound like Mr. Beast thumbnail looks.
I also look like
I'm
Mr.
learning.
Beast looks.
I saw a Mr. Beast thumbnail for the first time the other day, and
Was it because you
laughed
weren't
for a
logged
good.
into YouTube?
Yeah, well, I laughed for a good 20 minutes because it was the one where he gave hearing to 5,000 people like freaking Jesus, and it's literally a thumbnail of him with his arm on a boy who's crying. Like and it's not like actual tears. He went in and illustrated tears on this child, and that's kind of fucked up.
I mean,
It is beyond parody, but
they get the
Does a good
most views. Like, there's somebody posted like these are demonstrably the best thumbnails on YouTube because these get the most attention. So
yeah,
he's playing the game.
Psychology.
he knows what he's doing. He's the male Taylor Swift, which we'll be talking about today on this episode of Good Morning Radish.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Along with some hot celebrity goss, we're going to be talking about a art application, I think, if not a special kind of painting extreme sport. We're also going to be talking about. We've got a special movie review from Tyler, our
Yep,
resident
I
movie
am,
critic.
I have a Twitter account which qualifies me to be a movie critic. So I have a special movie critic segment for you guys today.
Do you guys think that Tar
Can't
was
wait.
humorless?
I don't think so.
I don't understand that movie. If it was a good movie, why did they put a bad person in it?
Yeah.
I
Why
don't
did the
know
movie
why-
explicitly say we support Lydia Tarr in her endeavors?
I don't know if I agree with a movie where there's a bad person in it. It's just like, what are the writers trying to say? That's why I like Joker.
Yeah. That's why I like Ted Lasso, where everyone's nice to each other, except that mean rival coach, I think,
From the
In
rich
any
kids
case.
camp.
from the rich kids camp, because you can tell that they're rich because all of their jerseys are like black and silver and really cool and slick.
My dad is John Soccer. He built this camp. Name's not
Oh,
football.
boy. His name, yeah, not football. That's where soccer came from. And I'll be bringing some delightful recipes for some upcoming. Well, spring is already here, and I've got some favorite spring cocktail and drink recipes that I'll be sharing with everyone for you to try at home. If I can move my camera to my kitchen, I would, but I cannot. So we'll just have to all use our imagination.
You're basically
And
in
then
it.
finally, yeah, that's true. Um, And finally, we'll be talking about a morning show legend, an anchor by the name of J. Fred Muggs. And I'll be telling you the story all about that later this show. But for now, let's move on to some hot celebrity gossip. Top of the list, pop starlet Taylor Swift, who's currently on tour right now,
I love her.
was spotted with a new beau.
Whoa.
His name is Hat Mealy. No, Hat Meal. No.
Is this beau also
Matt
afraid?
Healy. It's the 1975's Ratman frontman Matt Healy. They have been spotted together in Nashville, and I'm not sure what this means. I guess a good album is on the way from the both of them.
Wasn't that an AI picture? Was that fake? Because I saw somebody say it was an AI picture, and I don't know. I don't. I feel like if you put in what the kids with the computers nowadays are always making these funny images. I feel like if you put in Taylor Swift and Matt Healy paparazzi photo, that's what you would get. I couldn't see their hands to verify.
It did look strange, but it's grainy enough and skinamarinky enough that I think it is real. You can't see Matt Healy in the car, but you can see a woman who looks like Taylor Swift and like maybe the Skinamarink monster in the background.
Maybe the Skinamarink monster is the new beau.
Maybe.
I'd be so jealous.
Producers are saying it's AI. Articles I'm finding are saying it's real. I don't know. Huffington Post says maybe.
Huffington Post. When have we read an article by the when have they last been relevant?
On Good Morning Radish.
Oh, good morning.
Thank you.
I'm seeing Daily Mail's reporting it as legit, but
look what the computers have done to our wholesome talk show.
Truly. On tomorrow morning's Good Morning Radish, we'll be doing an AI talk show, but that's for the next morning. In any case, moving on to more news, to make you feel. Do y'all remember the 2010s, the early 2010s?
No.
All the celebrities and internet gossip. Do you remember Honey Boo Boo?
Yes.
We all remember Honey Boo Boo.
Of course.
She's about to graduate high school.
Okay.
America's Malala.
Am I allowed to ask this? Is she graduating on time? Because we were in high school, I feel like, when Honey Boo Boo was like having her comeuppance. And, just throwing this out there, Will and I are turning 30 by the time this episode comes out, and now she's just this seems ridiculous. Like
it's 12 years.
I feel like there's
Yeah, she was like 6 or 7 when like everyone became aware of Honey Boo Boo.
So that's 18.
Yeah.
My math is not
She's
great.
graduating on
I'm
time,
the sports
Tyler.
guy on Good Morning Radish.
I'm
ashamed. I'm the math guy of this morning show, so I should have gotten this right.
But congratulations to Elena. I hope great things for your future endeavors.
What
about y'all?
Did we graduate high school?
Or do we congratulate Honey Boo Boo?
Oh.
Both.
No to both.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, no to both. Didn't graduate, and I wish Honey Boo Boo. Sorry, I wish Helena the best. I wish Honey Boo Boo can go to hell. I recognize kayfabe.
Yeah.
Did you guys see? I'm not condoning the Kentucky Derby, because I know there was like 100 horses died this year.
Yeah.
Not from race injuries.
Kentucky Destruction Derby.
Yeah. that one horse jumped so many buses, though. This year in the Kentucky Derby, it's Gravedigger. They had Steve Kornacki at the Kentucky Derby like it was election night in front of the map.
Oh.
It's just like
In front of a map of what? The
he was
track?
in front of like a full like a full whiteboard like he always is, and I was like, that man just loves to stand in front of a board and give percentages. That's his whole job.
That's all he does. That's all NBC brings him in for, and he does great.
He's not. He looks equally like crazed in every instance. Like every night's election night to him, he's always has like his hair messed up and his shirt's unbuttoned down to his navel. My celebrity goss is Steve Kornacki showing up at any event.
I don't even know
NASCAR
who won the
races.
Kentucky Derby.
The horses that didn't compete, they all won.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Speaking of competitive races in the South,
Oh,
Tyler.
Yeah.
Well, this could go two ways.
This one
competitive
one-
sports races.
this one took place in Kansas, so not necessarily the South, but very rarely does cool news come out about NASCAR. Last year it was the guy who rode the wall and just slungshot around it because he remembered back in the day in like 2006 he could do it on a GameCube. Same
Sebulba
guy
did
actually
that.
was. Yes, yes. It was after the race. People were tense. Things were heated, and one guy came out into the pit and started pushing the other guy. And the guy who's being pushed turned around and just cold cocked him. The cleanest connect I have ever seen in a punch. Just absolutely connected. And the best part is the aggravated party, the guy coming in and inciting this fight, had the dorkiest bowl cut I have ever seen. Just put a bowl on his head, full man dark, and just got cold cocked. It was like I was watching the Three Stooges. All he had to do was put his finger or his hand up in between his eyes, and he could have blocked that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Who was the guy that did the GameCube NASCAR move? Was it the puncher?
It was the puncher, Ross
Cool.
Chastain.
Ross
is the name
Chastain.
of the guy.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, absolutely, absolute legend.
Producer Pre saying that their mom showed them this punch from across the world. I won't dox Producer Pre. But it's not
It's
America.
a good punch. It is a clean punch. I definitely recommend y'all look it up. Just do it on NASCAR is like not coming out and saying, "Hey, we don't promote violence." They're like using this as like, "Hey, come in and watch next week's race. Look at this fucking punch." The only regret is people jumped in immediately and didn't let the bowl cut guy get his swing in. You gotta let someone retaliate.
No, he should have gotten punched some more. He wasn't getting a punch.
Or
He
that
walked
too.
up, he grabbed the guy, he started it. The guy, the Ross Chastain said stop 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
and when he didn't stop, he landed the cleanest hit in history.
Honestly.
They should have done this when Tony Stewart killed that guy. Like, tune in next week to see who he's gonna run over.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yep, Tony did that.
The Home Depot man ran a dude
and
over.
now he's a presenter. He's on a lot of the races. Call him the race. He's still pretty big in. I mean, it wasn't his fault, obviously. People go look this up if or don't. But
Yeah,
Wait till he burns NASCAR.
let he who has not run over someone with a NASCAR cast the first stone. So if you haven't looked this up, he got into an altercation and the guy got out of his car and was like shaking his fist at him or something, was like,
yeah.
darn you. And Tony Stewart just didn't slow down and ran him over.
Yeah, it was in the middle of the race. Yeah, he couldn't have, he's going close to 200 miles per hour. You can't just stop.
He did a Dick
Yeah.
Dastardly. He got out of his car and shook his fist. And like, he definitely killed that guy, but also like it raises the question, do you swerve? Like, do you, like, what do you, what's
Right.
the safest thing to do? I know deer are supposed to accelerate.
Is it? Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you slow down, here's your helpful living out in the suburbs tips. But
Good
if you
morning.
slow down,
Good morning.
your hood like goes downward, and that gives the deer essentially a ramp to go through your windshield and cause more damage. But if you hit it dead on, then it's just like, you know,
Team Rocket blasts off into the.
Exactly.
Just
You
you
act
in front of the
more
screen
like-
like Smash Bros.
You act more like a cleaver than a wedge, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're pushing
Pizza,
it.
French fry.
Yeah.
And if you see a deer, I hope you remember this podcast. If you hit the brakes or swerve, you're more likely to crash or get rear-ended. So that's why deer cause so many car crashes. Is people try to dodge them, and
Interesting.
end up going into trees and stuff.
Learned something today.
Yeah.
So if you see a deer, speed up.
Gotta get through it. Can't go around it. Can't go under it. Gotta go through it.
He's going 15 to a neighborhood, and he's like, "Honey, I have to floor it." A podcast told me this.
If you're listening to this on your morning commute,
Good
and
morning.
you see a deer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hit that shit.
There you go. Help you out. Also, to segue from that, also to help on your morning commute, I have a few
Segue.
delightful spring drinks to really brighten these warm spring, late May. You know, we're in that time where summer's on the verge, but it's still kind of cool and rainy enough that we can enjoy the last little bits of cool weather. So I've got a couple recipes that I'd like to present to you, and I'm doing this first because I'm nearly done with my first one in traditional morning show fashion. What I've got here is my newly mastered jalapeno margarita for those of you who like a little kick in your cocktails.
I do at 8
Basically, I'll
a.m.
give you- exactly. It is 8 a.m. when we're recording this
Good morning.
somewhere. And producer Pre can confirm this for us.
Yeah.
But we are basically the recipe. It is I give it about 2.5 ounces of tequila, an ounce of Cointreau, a half ounce of agave syrup, and an ounce and a half of fresh lime juice. Now I know what you're thinking. I could just get that lime juice and the concentrate in the little green bottle. Those are so easy. No, I assure you, you're gonna want to freshly squeeze your lime. It makes all the difference.
I
If you
squeeze
go
my
for the
limes every morning.
concentrate, yeah,
Twice on Saturdays.
it helps with the citrus in the morning. It really helps just kind of enliven the sinuses and really get you going. Nothing like a spicy margarita.
My
but you want
sinuses
to
really
fresh
need to
squeeze-
be enlivened.
Truly. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna fresh squeeze that lime. A lime will produce about 1.5 ounces of lime juice already. So all you just need is one lime. Squeeze that. Mix all your ingredients together. What I do is I take about 1/4 of a jalapeno, not a pickled jalapeno, but a fresh jalapeno, and I muddle it in the bottom of my cocktail glass.
So you
Not
think about
the
it real
glass
hard?
itself, but in my
Real spicy.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. It doesn't really present that much spice. It allows a bit of heat, which is quite nice. But it works really well to just kind of like liven things up. Live in La Vida Loca, you know? And while I'm muddling and mixing all the drinks, all the liquids together, I've got my glass, my cold cocktail glass. And I've taken one of the limes that I've squeezed out. I've lined the rim of the glass, and then I dip it into what you might see here on the rim is some nice tahini. If you guys
Ooh.
haven't had
I thought that was cinnamon.
tahini is wonderful. It is not cinnamon. It's what I could tell. Yeah, it's not. It looks like cinnamon. It's like a lime and cayenne salt mixture. It's delicious, and it provides a nice little kick where the salt should be, while providing the same kind of counteract to the tequila in the drink. It's just wonderful. This is my third in 2 days, and I am just a massive fan. If you can't tell by me talking about it, so that's the jalapeno margarita. I've got one more. I'm gonna take a sip.
What kind of tequila are you using?
I'm using a Blanco tequila, the brand of which I cannot remember right now.
Oh,
But
it's
it's
not good.
no, it's very good. It's just it's like one of Total Wine's most preferred and popular brands of tequilas, and I just picked it up. It comes in a bottle with a little cork cap. It's very neat. I keep it in my freezer. The next drink, a little more simple, much easier. If you're not crazy about the spice, no worries. If you just want a cold beer on at the end of a spring day, or right before your morning commute, or as you're listening to the show,
Road
in
soda.
the car.
exactly, road soda. What you're gonna do?
On the way to the air traffic control tower.
I learned this because these two brands partnered together and created this drink. I think it's made up. I think it's bullshit, but
It's AI.
I still make it every day.
Mr.
It's
Beast and
great.
Costco.
It's called. We could rechange the name to that, it's called a spear and a beer, and it's a collaboration between Grillo's Pickles and PBR. Blue Ribbon Beer.
Wow.
This is my
It's
brand.
fantastic. Basically, you pour. It's just 1 can of PBR poured into a frosty pint glass. It's necessary. It makes it so good. And then once you pour the beer, you drop the spear of pickle in there, and you got a fun little treat at the end of your beer. And it adds some nice little refreshing flavors of pickle and vinegar to your beer that pairs very well. You'd be surprised. And also, the pickle tastes like a little bit like beer. It works nice.
It's
Very
like
refreshing drink.
It's like a pickleback, but for the world's most enjoyable beverage already. PBR.
Exactly. Can't endorse them enough. They're fantastic drinks.
Wow. What a cool working man's drink.
Yeah.
Truly. You should be buying. If we could get a sponsorship from any food out there, it would be Grillo's Pickles. They are just fantastic. Their product is amazing and worth all the hype. And I want to get a Grillo's t-shirt one day because they're just the best pickles. They are, bar none, the best pickles.
I want Grillo's Pickles and I want Pfizer. Those are the two I want on this podcast. Who I assume makes
Yes.
PBR.
Yeah.
I
Pfizer Blue Ribbon.
You're talking about tequila. For some reason, I just pictured the only tequila that Kathy Lee and Hoda drink is the George Clooney one.
Really?
Oh, is that true?
That's the rumor I'm starting. If you can kill Emerald, I'm going to start off saying that all Kathy Lee Gifford drinks is George Clooney's tequila.
Like Casamigos or something like that.
Is that what it is?
I think
his
so.
or is that Ryan Reynolds got a tequila? Oh, you know who else got it? Oh no, I think they got a
It's
gin.
Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul have a Reposado? No. What is that? Mezcal.
George Clooney is Casamigos. You're correct.
Nice.
Okay. Casamigos
Yeah.
is good. I do enjoy a good Casamigos.
I believe that. It's quite expensive, so I'd recommend just going for like a good, just a reliable $25 bottle of Blanca tequila for this one.
Yeah, get Kirkland brand. Does the job.
Casamigos,
Exactly.
Not bad.
the fixer.
So
We'll fix your morning.
I wanna bring a new segment to Good Morning Radish.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm gonna eat this jalapeno.
So I found out recently, I didn't know this, but if you have a Twitter account, then you are granted the ability to just be a movie critic. So I decided, you know what? Why don't I go ahead and try my hand at being a movie critic for Good Morning Radish.
Good morning.
So this is
Good morning.
Tyler, the Twitter movie critic. I just watched recently Dungeons and Dragons, the new film. It just came out on digital, and the one thing I really liked about that film is the title of the film delivers on the premise of the movie. It's got dungeons, it's got dragons. So for this segment, I want to talk about the one qualifier that I have for films is that the title of the film has to describe what the movie's about. That determines whether or not the movie's an A+ or an F. So I brought some movies and I brought some reasons why they're A's and they're F minuses. So
Perfect.
A+, A Man Called Otto. You know what you're gonna get. It's about a man called Otto.
He's right
A+.
there.
Right.
100%. You know what you're getting into when you're walking into the AMC. First F I got Jungle Book. Not even. Well, it was kind of close. It was close with the first part. It's in a jungle.
Isn't there a book at the beginning?
No books. I don't remember a book in this at all. And even if there was a book, then Mowgli can't read.
No one can
Animals
read
can't
it.
Yeah, exactly. F, Jungle Book. A+, 3 billboards of Madison County. It's about 3 billboards. You know what you know what the
That
movie's
is not
about
the
to be
title
about.
of. That is not.
Tyler,
you've
those were two
combined
different movies.
You've combined 2 movies into one movie.
Two movies that would I
the
guess
3
get an
billboards
A+.
one?
They both passed
3
the Tyler
billboards
Bechtel
outside-
test.
Yeah. 3 billboards is short for 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Ebbing, Missouri. What's the Madison County one?
That one's just called Madison County.
I believe
Oh.
it's Bridges of.
Both
Bridges
both
of
work.
Madison County.
One's about billboards. One's about Madison County. So both A pluses in my book. I meant to do that. I'm
Bridges
Tyler,
of
the Twitter
Madison
movie
County
critic.
is
Don't doubt me.
a 1995 Meryl Streep movie.
A plus movie in my book. Deep cut. Deep cut. Next one, F minus, Parasite. There are no bugs in this film. No bugs, no parasitic organisms, anything like that. It is about one family mooching off another family. I'd call it moochers because that's what that's what the movie's about.
Hey,
A plus, American Sniper. We you hear that? You know, we're about to get a movie about a sniper from the best country in the world. And now I'm gonna round this out with 3 Fs in my book. These all came out pretty recently. Number 1, the box office bomb licorice pizza. First of all, yuck. Second of all, there are no licorice or pizza, I think, in this film that I remember. But I would call this one farting around in 1970s Los Angeles because of the
He's right.
nostalgic 1970s feel. You know, it's got the 1970s music going on around. They're all hanging out in cool 1970s like places like record shops and stuff like that. I'd call it farting around in 1970s Los Angeles. Next F, everything everywhere all at once. What does that even mean? I'd call it we're family no matter what, because even though it was a mess of a film and a lot was going on, they were still a family in the end. I think that better describes the movie. That would make it an A plus in my book. Lastly, and the biggest head scratcher for me, Avatar: Way of Water. What even is an Avatar? It's not about the cartoon. I would call this one Human in Alien Body, the beach episode. That would describe this to a T and make it an A plus in my book. So those are the movies that I've watched recently. Those are my reviews. I definitely recommend 3 Billboards and Madison County. That's definitely what I said earlier. So that's Tyler, the Twitter movie critic.
Extremely insightful. Thank you, Tyler. I'm excited to check out those movies.
Okay, please do.
The ones you gave the A plus.
There was a movie critic. There's not a movie critic. A blue check mark on Twitter, and I'm not going to say who it was. It was Neil Brennan, who said that Parasite. That was his critique of Parasite. Was
There were no bugs. It was not about parasites.
It was how the metaphor doesn't work, and everyone was like, "What did you? Who do you think? Who do you think it was?" Like, take your Chappelle Show money and leave.
Oh boy,
I love D&D. I saw it last week. If I could also get in on this, it was a lot of fun. One of the best movies based on a board game, and I have a ranking here of all the movies based on board games, and I'd like you to weigh in on this. I mean, first of all,
these are all A pluses in Tyler's books as far as we know.
Well, we'll see.
Well, maybe. Clue. Do you rank it above? Do you rank Clue? Kind of the gold standard for.
There are clues in it.
There are.
So I'd say so. I think that pretty much.
It should be called Clues.
Yeah, that would make it an A plus.
It gets a B for being called Clue, for under promising.
For just the one clue.
One Tyler's gonna love is Battleship.
Okay.
There are those.
They should call it Rihanna on a battleship, but yeah.
And then we got Ouija, Origin of Evil. So, I was a little disappointed at the end of Dungeons and Dragons that Gloppy from Candyland didn't show up, or Mr. Monopoly or something. I guess maybe they're saving him for the larger Hasbro Cinematic Universe.
Hasbroverse.
It's going to be a
Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, versus Parker Brothers. It's going to have like 13 Dead End Drive. It's all. They got Zack Snyder for it. No, I would rank it. I have not seen Clue. That's my thing. As I hear it's great.
Oh,
I know.
That's your kind of movie, Will.
I thought I might like it, so I'll watch Clue and report back. But I liked it more than Battleship. But there wasn't a. Well, there was kind of a scene. A big thing I'm a big sucker for is when the game pieces they write into the movie. Like on Battleship, the alien bombs were the pegs from the game Battleship, and I was like, "Oh hell yes!"
Amazing.
Inject that into my veins. At 2 different points in the D&D movie, the battlefield they were on were different D&D boards, and I was like, "Ooh." Sean
With-
looks perplexed.
I know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons. Other than the the names of the professions that you can get in the game, but the action, like the set pieces, I'm gonna say it, the characters were
Oh.
fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
So
There was banter, and it
I'm
was
just
Morning
glad
good.
Radish.
that everyone involved with Dungeons and Dragons was able to like find a time to get together and like play, and like it really worked out for them coordination wise, because like I could see that being a big difficulty, and maybe I haven't seen the movie yet. That could be a big plot point, because I can tell you every time I try to get a D&D group together, it just turns out poorly.
The movie was supposed to
I
come
still
out in
hold out hope.
2012, but they couldn't get Chris Pine and Fast and Furious lady and Hugh Grant in the same.
What a meta
Michelle
kid.
Rodriguez. Sorry, Michelle Rodriguez. If you're listening, I know you're a big fan. Good morning.
Good
morning.
morning. Yeah, this is an open calling card to DMs. Please, the people from Radish want to do Dungeons and Dragons.
Very poorly. I mean, we want to play very bad. No, hold on. We so badly want to play.
Yes.
I want to say we're going to play the game poorly. Where that perplexed look I had earlier, I was trying to figure out whether the movie Jumanji came out first or the board game, and I think
It's
the
the
movie
book,
came out first.
I
The
believe.
book.
Hmm.
Okay, so it was written by the same guy who did Zathura,
Yes.
and then they made board game, like they made the book, they made the movie, and then the board game.
Yes. Because I also was debating that, whether they put that on the list.
Got it. Because that's the one movie, that's the board game movie I think of, but I understand now. It's like a Bubba Gump situation.
Yeah, the Bubba Gump board game
Where
was
there was
never as
the
fun
book.
as the movie.
Yeah.
Zathura, Zathura was low-key a fantastic film too. I don't know if y'all agree, but at least Josh Hutcherson was at peak little shit age. Like he just
yeah.
looked like the little, like you couldn't have cast a more perfect actor in that role.
It's
in
got
that day and age.
the bed farter Dax Shepard in it. It's got
Oh yeah.
Who plays the cool babysitter that was meant?
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart?
Oh, Kristen Stewart. Sure enough.
Star-studded cast. It has Tim Robbins as the dad.
Jonah Bobo.
Jonah
Wow.
Bobo.
Jonah Bobo. Directed by Jon Favreau.
Wow.
Wow.
The Mandalorian himself.
Indeed. The Mandalorian.
Have y'all watched The Mandalorian this season?
No.
Yeah, I started it and I was like,
I saw a clip with
Joe
Lizzo and
Biden
Jack
ruined
Black
another
that,
thing.
that looked like a parody from an MTV Movie Awards, and I didn't watch this season.
It was
It looked
Jack
like
Black
AI.
and Lizzo. Lizzo was also in it.
Yeah, I said Lizzo.
I've heard either
did, sorry.
it betrays the entire setup of the first two seasons, or it's the best season so far. So I'm just not gonna. I don't care anymore.
I guess it depends on your opinion of keys and the sounds they make.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. I for the first time in a long time, in the past maybe year and a half, I've just fallen completely off both Marvel and Star Wars. Like the only thing that's exciting to me with Marvel is Blade, because they just cast Mia Goth as the villain in the role in the movie, and I'm like, oh man.
They
You got
pushed it
Mia
back again too.
Well, writer strike, which I support.
Yeah.
Like that's fine.
Yeah, but
Get the writers
Yeah.
what they need.
apparently they made a first cut of it, and Mahershala Ali was like, "You're not putting this out."
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised. I hope it's good because it's got Mahershala Ali, it's got Mia Goth. Blade is just a really good. I loved the first few movies. So
Wes Snipes is sitting on his big pile of tax-free money right now, having a good laugh.
Yeah, he's perfectly fine.
Wesley
Yeah.
under the table Snipes. Yeah. I like.
Well,
D&D.
did you have something to talk about with Picross?
Oh my gosh, I thought I was gonna do Dungeons and Dragons, and so I was like, oh, I'll do this little thing. I have a delightful little morning puzzle for you.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. I'm very sorry. I thought my show and tell was gonna be D&D, and I was like, oh, I'll just hop in on this little bit here, and then I'm okay. There's a game called Picross. I've heard about it
No.
forever.
I've
checked-
heard the name. I've never played it ever.
They make a
Is
new one
this
every
not
year.
the cool profile picture app?
That's Picrew.
Picross.
Yeah, this is Picross by Rick Ross. Um,
Oh.
Picross is a puzzle game. It was on 3DS. It was on a bunch of consoles. There's a Pokemon one, I think. There's a bunch of different tie-ins. The ones on Switch are Picross S through Picross S8 is the most recent one that came out. They're like $10 on the Switch store, and they are the most brain-massaging puzzles you can start your day with.
Amazing.
You get a grid, and then on each row and each column, it tells you, all right, you got a block of 3 blocks, a block of 5 blocks, and a block of 2 blocks. And we're not going to tell you how far apart space they are. And you have to use all the other, like a Sudoku, to imply which blocks are filled in. And that's the whole puzzle. And it is, you finish one, and you're like, you know what? I feel mentally stimulated. I feel ready to start my day. I feel like I've had 3 Adderall. Let's do this. And
Nice.
if you're wanting to get into
Amazing.
Picross, they're just the best. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Producer Pre has played through the full 150 of Picross S in the past like week and a half.
Hell yeah. Hardcore Picrosser.
Very cool.
It seems like a game
very-
that Sean could get into. Like
Yeah, it
the
does.
one Nintendo game that. Well, we're all playing Tears of the Kingdom by the end of the week. Sean's going to be putting in some serious Picross time.
Yeah.
Maybe put in Picross hours, or maybe playing Breath of the Wild, or I don't know.
What if it was called
Newer
Bread of the
type
Wild?
crossword puzzle. Bread of the Wild?
That'd be kind of cool.
I'd eat it. Yeah. Unless they put too many seeds on it. Can't do a lot of seeds on bread.
Oh,
Get those out of here.
coward.
That's all the wild is, man.
No, the seeds. The bread's here because of the seeds. I don't need the seeds to hang around. Unless there's sesame seeds on.
I got a whole bag of crackers this week that my sister gave to me because she's like, "There's too many seeds in these," and I got a free bag
Yeah.
of crackers, and I don't care.
Wow.
Can't do the seedy crackers. It's like Ritz
The
or Club
seedy-
crackers. Yeah.
Sean's not a seedy character.
Do you
Yeah.
do you eat seeds? Do you like peanuts and sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds and
Yeah, but like if they're all just kind of like clumped together on like a baked good, I'm not wild about it. And
You like just
everything
straight
bagel,
seeds.
I'll deal. And everything bagel, I'll eat.
Mhm.
But if it's like a loaf of bread with just like bird feet on it, I don't want it.
Do you know what a bagel is?
Yes.
It's like a little loaf of bread. You would argue that
Right.
a bagel has more seeds. So you like, there's a ratio of seeds to bread that you enjoy because you like seeds. You like seeds
like
on a
seeds.
bagel. You don't like seeds on bread. So there's a point in
Right.
between bagel and bread where there becomes too much bread and not enough seeds.
No, it's not too much bread, not enough seeds. It's too many different kinds of seeds. If you give me like poppy seed muffin, done. You give me a sesame seed bun with a cheeseburger, absolutely in. But you throw like there's poppy seeds, there's sesame seeds, there's the little black seeds, there's larger seeds, and they're just all just
We
hanging
quickly
out
learned
on the
that Sean knows
cracker.
2 kinds of seeds.
Yeah. Name me another seed they put on things. I don't know.
A secret third kind of seed.
Chia seeds. That's it. If I see all those gathered around on a baked good, too much.
Interesting.
Keep it simple.
All right. Well,
I get the same with smoothies. Keep the fruit separate. Just give me, give me a strawberry. I don't need strawberries, blueberries, bananas, and spinach.
so
Get
you're
out
a,
of here.
so you want one kind of fruit. Or you want one kind of fruit in your smoothie. So you're a pureist.
Yeah. There we go. Can't believe I haven't used that joke. I don't even like smoothies all that much. I just rather eat the fruit. I don't
What the
even
hell's
drink
wrong
fruit.
with you? This is a fun Good Morning
No, like-
episode.
I'm
Yeah.
making hot takes.
Hoda would
That's what
never do
Radish is
this.
Hoda loves
Well,
smoothies.
Hoda would
and
yes
seeds on
and
her
my
bread.
ass.
Yeah. Good
I
morning.
don't want
to
to
you.
yes and myself into giving people the wrong impression
That you like seeds? Is that
that I like different kinds of seeds
is
and
that
smoothies.
branding that you carry with you every day? Is someone
Yes.
how
wanna go to my local
unremarkable is
coffee
the rest of your persona if this is what sticks out?
Bland as shit.
That's Sean. He doesn't like seeds.
That's his
Don't give him too
whole
many
thing.
I
This whole
remember when I
thing is
first heard the word
seeds.
pita in 2017, and I got scared, but I learned to like them. I learned.
He just swallows them. Holds his nose. It's like swallows them like a pill. That's how he eats his peanuts.
We were all there when I took an edamame bean. It's not. Is it a seed? I don't know. But we got edamame at a ramen restaurant. I just ate it the whole thing. I learned you weren't supposed to.
The whole pot. I mean, it might be good for fibrous, but
You can
I
do
was.
it.
I lived.
it didn't. A little edamame didn't grow in your stomach.
No, as far as I know.
We were like halfway through the meal, and producer Peyton was just like, "Are you eating the wrappers?"
It's like I know not to eat a peanut, but like the whole. I'm used to snap peas. Like snap peas are that's what it looked like. So I just ate the whole thing, and I got like a little crunchy, like flavored seed, along with a lot of just what tasted like grass, and fiber.
They're for sucking.
They are. They are.
We don't suck seeds, anyways.
Hoda,
wait, no.
Hoda does say that a lot.
That's what Succession's about, is succeeding. All right, gonna move on.
The workshop.
Gotta tell y'all. Yep.
Speaking of
bring that
sucking
back.
seed,
Speaking of sucking seed,
saw your mom last week.
we're gonna move on to a little piece of morning show trivia that's gonna sound like I'm making it up. Good morning, but we're not. And if you're like me and you've been watching NBC Today Show for too long, whatever, you probably know this story. But basically, it's about a special anchor named J. Fred Muggs, who was a co-host on the show between 1953 and 1957. Great years. This was the time when the Today Show was less about like morning news and DIY and good morning. What we're doing here on the Good Radish Morning Show. Good morning.
Good morning.
It was more kind of like, it was early morning television. So it was meant to be entertainment for children. So they'd have games, they'd have story time. It still is. I enjoyed it as a child in the 2000s, partly. And they had some current events here and there, but basically the NBC was just trying to like put out like a daily, like not really Sesame Street, but just kind of daily early morning show for families and children alike. And in 1953, a man named Dave Garroway auditioned with J. Fred Muggs, the titular character, or I'm just gonna say he was a chimpanzee. It was a chimpanzee that auditioned for the Today Show, and the NBC executives absolutely loved him. And so what they did is they hired J. Fred Muggs, Freddie Muggs, I don't know what you want to call him,
Mr. Muggs.
They hired Mr. Muggs. Sorry, they hired Mr. Muggs to play alongside Mr. Garroway, kind of to do comedy routines, just like playing along with each other to entertain children and viewers alike. It's reported that Muggs had, quote, a wardrobe of 450 outfits.
Dang.
And he played piano.
He was dripped out.
Don't know how well, but
amazing.
Just a extremely talented chimpanzee.
He could play,
but it did
he
get
could
to the
request
point.
anything and he could play it.
Yeah, it was a chimpanzee savant. That may not be true, but it got to the point where the chimpanzee toured internationally to promote NBC television, which I don't know why. I don't think NBC airs anywhere else, but whatever. He was the most popular American in the 50s in Japan, behind Marilyn Monroe. He was such a celebrity.
They dated
nationally,
for a little while.
internationally. I haven't seen Blonde yet, so I don't know if that's true. But it came to the point where like he made the network hundreds of millions of dollars, because NBC, the Today Show was kind of floundering. They weren't really pulling viewers, but when they added a chimpanzee, it really took off for them, and it allowed them to become one of a morning show that we know and some of us that love today. It got to the point though that Garroway, Muggs' co-host, developed a resentment of J. Fred Muggs, to the point of where he started drugging him with Benzedrine so that the chimpanzee would act out on during like tapings or live television. And it basically it got to the point where there was this one stunt where Garraway presented Freddie with a choice between renewing his contract with NBC by signing an X where his name should go, or eating a banana. You want to guess what Muggsy did there?
Is it the banana?
He signed the contract. He went with the contract. Apparently, J. Fred Muggs hated bananas, which Garraway, as his co-host, should have realized, but he did not. Basically, it got to the point where we've all seen Nope. Chimpanzees can get a little unpredictable. They can hurt people, and Muggsy didn't maul anyone, but he did bite Garraway once, and I think he nipped a comedian guest. And so they had to, end his contract, and they replaced him with another chimpanzee named Kokomo Jr., of which nothing is
That's
known.
an amazing name.
That's an incredible name for anything.
It's like a Beach Boys children band. But basically, Kokomo, he
Junior.
also got booted about Kokomo Jr.
Full name.
He got booted in 1958. And since then, today's show has taken on no more animal co-hosts or chimpanzees or anything like that. And here is the most shocking fact, which has yet to be proven otherwise. The article where I got a lot of this info from was published in 2018. And I also read Wikipedia, which has been updated. J. Fred Muggs is still alive.
What?
When he was fired, he went and served in the Vietnam War.
He did.
Yeah.
Early. Got hired in 1958. They sent him over their first wave. But no, J. Fred Muggs is reportedly, no one has said otherwise, he is still alive. His trainer, whose name I did not write down, basically just took him home, I think back to Florida, and he has a little cabin where he lives, has a little house. He has a girlfriend who, if you look at pictures of Muggs, what is her name? It's like Phoebe Beebe, something like that, but it's a little tiny chimpanzee. They live together, and to this day, Phoebe Beebe, they still together to this day, alive, living in Florida. Apparently, chimpanzees can live up to 70 years old, and I think he's now 72, 71.
He's
So
good.
Are they going to bring him out for the last Today Show?
I hope so.
This is 100-year-old monkey.
Even better. They put his face on a Smucker's jar in about 30 years, and like, happy 101st birthday, to J. Fred Muggs.
Willard Scott
Not
has
Willard
to read
Scott
it out.
doing it anymore. It's gonna be AI Willard Scott. But yeah, that's the story of J. Fred Muggs, one of America's greatest, most legendary morning show anchors. And so basically, with the time we have left, not to bite into Tyler's question, but I want to know if we did have, if Fox and Friends wanted to bring on an animal friend,
Well,
like
Fox.
a tiger, or that would also be good.
That's
Or
what I
if
do.
there were another show that they could pair with an animal friend to like really boost the ratings. What do y'all think? What animal would you want to see on your morning television?
I have it. I want to see an episode of the 700 Club with 700 geese. I want to go by ABC Family, Freeform, whatever they're calling it, and see whatever the guy's name on 700 Club is. I don't know. Pat Robertson and 700 geese. Each of them screeching louder than the last. Taken to the skies.
Like, the videos are like one of those like turkey huts where a guy could just go, "Whoa," and like they all like chorus back to him, just like Pat Robertson trying to speak, and you just hear, I'm not gonna do it. I can't do a goose impression.
It's a goose. There's a goose.
I hate them. I
Honk.
give the finger to every goose
Honk.
I see.
That's like more like a sea lion.
You
Or
made the Banjo Kazooie noise.
Nope, can't do it.
This is
Tyler,
honk,
what's your goose sound like?
honk.
Honk, goose.
It's pretty good.
Thank you.
It's a jam band.
Yeah. Did you know that the orangutan you were talking about went to Willie B's funeral?
Really?
Did he really?
Of course not. Willie B didn't have a funeral.
Oh.
This is the saddest thing ever. You didn't even answer the question. You just gave us a sad story.
You just gave a sad answer.
I was thinking, like, what's the most believable thing that this orangutan could have done? Willie B's funeral.
It wasn't even an orangutan.
They don't discriminate.
It was a chimpanzee.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Willie B had a. Hang on a second.
Willie
Willie B had a memorial service with 5,000 people in attendance.
Yeah.
Including J. Fred Muggs. He's right there.
Willie B didn't have a funeral. He had a better funeral than you're going to have.
You're absolutely right.
More people
You will be
cared.
forgotten in several generations, but Willie B will be remembered forever.
Funnily enough, I thinking ahead, bought the plot next to Willie B. So, joke's on you.
That was for his wife.
I know. They're offering a lot of money. That
Where is he buried?
I'm not...
All right. Radish heist.
Steal the body of Willie B.
Where's Willie B buried?
Oh, okay. His remains were cremated, and 80% of his remains were kept in a bronze box in the bronze statue of Atlanta, and the other 20% were flown back to the African jungle.
Do you mean Willie B is in that statue that every child in Atlanta has climbed on and taken a picture with?
Yeah.
That's just
What the hell? He's in there?
Amazing.
It's a Willie B urn. Wow.
If you hold a banana up to it, you can hear a soft pounding on the inside of the vessel. Hamburger.
Hamburger. Oi. Well, folks, I think that's going to do it for us this morning.
Good morning.
We hope
Good morning.
we've created a good morning, a great space for you to begin your day peacefully and insightfully, being mindful throughout the day of all the things that we have spoken about today. I have been your host, Sean. You can find me on Twitter at Sean from Radish, and Sean M. Berry nearly everywhere else.
I've been Will from Radish on Twitter. One of my sister's first memories when she was 2 years old is my grandmother telling her that Abraham Lincoln was buried alive, and when they exhumed his body to move it, there were claw marks on the inside of the casket.
It's 100% true. That is 100% true.
Abraham Lincoln tried to claw his way out of the grave. That's the first memory she has.
The bullet missed. It absolutely just grazed his head.
You know that hat went flying though.
That's why they thought he was dead. That hat flew too far
They
for
took
him
his
not to
head
be
off.
dead.
That's where the brain is. It wasn't.
They didn't check.
They weren't good at medicine back then.
He fell asleep during a play, and they shot the hat off, and everyone was like, "He's dead!"
No,
Welcome to this to our American cousin. I would have also fallen asleep.
Abraham Lincoln, Mojo Jojo style, takes the hat off and it's just a brain. Oh, that's great.
That's where he had the grand idea to end the Civil War. Everyone else was like, keep fighting. And him with his big brain was like, we should end this.
Oh, Jesus. You can find the podcast online at Radish Pod. If you're listening on your morning commute, good morning. You should definitely go subscribe to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/radishpod, to catch us do this live every Monday night. And then also our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@radishpod, to watch the recordings of this if you can't catch us on Monday nights. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you say good morning at the end of the show? Or is it good night
Yes.
now? Is it night? Is it 9 o'clock?
Oh shit! It is 9:01 p.m. Man, we've been going on for a lot of this.
Time flies with a spear and a beer.
Truly, our spicy jalapeno margarita.
Or that.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.